Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, new details about the breach of voting equipment in the state of Georgia have been revealed, and they show that Republican officials refuse to investigate their own. That's what it boils down to. Officials who knew damn well that Donald Trump was a danger to this country, they still failed to act. So, here's what we now know and how this all came out. These details were revealed in a trial that's been going on. The trial's been going on for almost a month for a civil lawsuit that was filed by a conservative group. So the group is suing Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, for, among other things, failing to secure election equipment in that state. And what we're now learning through the discovery and through testimony is that Trump's allies not only breached the voting equipment in Coffee County, Georgia, they attempted to access the equipment in 3 other counties. And the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, has never lifted a finger to investigate any of this. So I shared recently, Trump's minions have requested access to Butts County election equipment. They were denied. And then during this trial, the Bartow, I think is how you pronounce it, Bartow County election supervisor, he testified that a local Republican chairperson and several attorneys asked him to give them access to the machines so that they could come in and make copies of the software. He refused, luckily, and then he reported those requests to the Secretary of State. So this text message that I'm showing you, this was also shared during the trial. So for people listening to the podcast, the text reads, quote, "Breaking. Trump team now has a Dominion machine from Ware County, Georgia, with evidence of Trump votes being switched to Biden. Source, John Fredericks on Steve Bannon War Room." That text included a link to a story on the Gateway Pundit, and it was sent from a Coffee County Elections board member to the Ware County attorney. So the attorney said that he would verify if the story was true, but we don't know what happened after that. Now, I mean, clearly it's a bunch of BS, because if that was true, if they truly had a Dominion machine and it showed that votes were flipped, do you not think that Rudy Giuliani and every other person out there would be using this so-called quote unquote evidence to win their defamation lawsuits or, in their disbarment proceedings? It's ridiculous. I mean, Sidney Powell, Linwood, all these people would be throwing this around. They'd be flashing this so-called evidence everywhere. So anyway, witnesses from the Secretary of State's office testified in this trial, and they said their office never even opened an investigation into any of these breaches, whether, real or imagined. And Slate News outlet noted that in 2022, the Secretary of State's office at one point denied that any of these breaches even occurred, even after we knew that they did. And then at another point in time, they claimed that they had opened an investigation into the Coffee County breach, just the Coffee County breach. Well, an investigator who was assigned to investigate Coffee County, he testified during the trial that he was told to, quote, hold off. So he was brought on to investigate it, and then he was told, no, don't do anything. And then he said the investigation never actually happened. And Slate points out, quote, "Even though these potential crimes were caught on video and documents show that the plan involved efforts to breach voting systems in multiple states, and that it was allegedly directed and paid for by Sidney Powell for the Trump campaign, publicly available evidence indicates there is no federal investigation into this multi-state plan." So for all those Merrick Garland stands out there, all of his apologists, just go sit yourself somewhere. He is a weakling. He is afraid to look partisan, so he ends up looking like a partisan. He ends up looking like he's partisan and playing for the Republican team. If you are making decisions based on politics, then you are being a political actor. You are being partisan. And You are showing fear or favor. You know, if a foreign government had illegally accessed our voting equipment, would the Justice Department or would Georgia officials just turn a blind eye to it? No. I mean, we all know they'd be all over it on day one. And yet here we are years later, 3 years later, and the Justice Department hasn't opened an investigation. And as the Slate journalist said, quote, "It's well past time for the Department of Justice to step in and investigate. This matter is too serious for the federal government to continue to stand by and rely on local officials who clearly couldn't be bothered to act on their own." I couldn't say it more perfectly myself. What the hell is the Justice Department waiting for? Obviously, these people in Georgia don't give a damn to investigate it. And the federal or the local Bureau of Investigation, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, was a complete and total joke. 3 years later, do you think if the shoe was on the other foot, that the Republicans would waste 3 years sitting around, that Bill Barr wouldn't be on top of this the day after it was revealed? Yeah, just stop trying to help Merrick Garland, trying to make him sound better than he is. He should have never been hired. He is too weak. He is too middle of the road. You know what happens when you sit in the middle of the road? You get run over eventually. So anyway, I will let you all know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share this video so everyone knows what is going on and how the ball has been dropped on this so bad. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.